These terrifying events have shaken many. The Earth's crust beneath Southeast Asia trembled, affecting several countries, including Thailand. Scientists have discovered a disturbing fact. A large amount of energy from the fault remains unspent. The U.S. Geological Survey estimates that the likelihood of another powerful earthquake in the coming months is 5 times higher than usual. Computer modeling revealed that the southern extension of the fault reaches into the Andaman Sea, where it could potentially generate a tsunami. After these events, many are asking whether it is still safe to travel to Thailand. Is the region at risk of a devastating tsunami similar to the one in 2004? Why did seismic stations from Bangkok to Almaty, Kazakhstan, register an unusually low number of aftershocks? And what does this eerie silence mean? What new data have scientists found in the massive fault stretching nearly 2,000 kilometers connecting the Himalayas with Central Asia? We've analyzed expert opinions to break it all down, so watch until the end to catch the crucial details. For millions of tourists, Thailand has always been a synonym for tropical paradise. White sand beaches, emerald seas, and exotic culture. But the earthquake has made many reconsider their views on the region. On March 28, 2025, at 12:50 p.m. local time, the ground beneath Myanmar suddenly shifted. A powerful tremor of magnitude 7.7 surged across several countries, destroying buildings, collapsing bridges, and claiming lives. Ancient pagodas that stood for centuries crumbled like card houses. Skyscrapers in Bangkok swayed like reeds in the wind. Water from rooftop pools came cascading down like waterfalls. It became one of the most destructive earthquakes in Southeast Asia in recent decades. The epicenter was located just 16 kilometers from the city of Sagaing in central Myanmar, at a shallow depth of only 10 kilometers. This shallow depth made the impact especially devastating. A second aftershock of magnitude 6.4 struck just 12 minutes later, compounding the damage. The second tremor brought down what was already weakened. Myanmar declared a state of emergency in 6 regions. The capital and the second largest city, Mandalay, were hit hardest. Despite being around 1,000 kilometers from the epicenter, Bangkok felt the quake's force intensely. One of the most shocking events was the collapse of a 30-story building under construction near a public park. Panic swept through residents and high-rises. People fled their homes in fear, and many buildings were evacuated. Public transportation was halted, plunging the city into traffic chaos. The next day, over 2,000 residents reported structural cracks in their buildings. City infrastructure suffered serious damage, requiring thorough inspections. Scientists explained that the earthquake in Myanmar occurred along the Sagaing Fault, a massive horizontal strike-slip fault over 200 kilometers long. Often called an earthquake superhighway, it cuts through central Myanmar. It's geologically similar to California's infamous San Andreas Fault. Earthquakes on such faults occur due to the friction between tectonic plates. In Myanmar's case, the Indian and Eurasian plates move in different directions and at different speeds. This ongoing movement over millions of years builds up enormous tension, which is periodically released as earthquakes. China reported that tremors were felt in its southeastern provinces bordering Myanmar, although no damage was reported. However, China is seriously concerned about potential damage to oil and gas pipelines from the Middle East that pass through Myanmar. Tremors were also felt in Cambodia, Laos, India, and Bangladesh, but those areas were spared destruction. Russian scientists analyzing the event warned that such a powerful quake could trigger tsunamis. They are monitoring seismic activity in the Pacific and Indian Oceans, especially worrying given the tragic 2004 tsunami that killed over 200,000 people after a 9.1 magnitude quake off Sumatra. That wave, up to 30 meters high, destroyed everything in its path. But official sources in Thailand, Myanmar, and international seismology centers stressed that the recent quake occurred on land, not underwater, significantly lowering the risk of a tsunami. Still, could the fault's movement lead to tsunamis in the future? And which tourist spots in Thailand are most at risk? Thailand's unique geography presents a dramatic contrast in tsunami danger between its coastlines. On the west, Thailand faces the deep Andaman Sea, part of the mighty Indian Ocean. This was the site of the catastrophic 2004 tsunami. Here lie popular tourist destinations: Phuket, Krabi, Phi Phi Islands, Lanta, and Similan Islands. On the east, Thailand's coasts meet the shallow waters of the Gulf of Thailand, part of the Pacific Basin. Tourist spots like Pattaya, Hua Hin, Samui, Koh Chang, and Koh Samet lie here. The eastern coast is protected by a natural lagoon, making it nearly immune to tsunamis. However, Phuket, especially popular with Russian tourists, sits in a high-risk zone. Its western beaches face the open Andaman Sea, with depths up to 4,000 meters. In the event of a submarine earthquake like in 2004, waves could strike Phuket within 90 to 100 minutes, enough time for evacuation if warning systems work properly. In contrast, resorts in the Gulf of Thailand, like Pattaya, are in an almost zero-risk tsunami zone. The Gulf's average depth of just 45-50 meters makes the formation of large waves physically impossible. Even in a worst-case scenario, waves near Samui would not exceed 0.5 or 0.7 meters, less than an ordinary storm. Central Thailand lies between the safe east and the dangerous west. Here, tsunami risk is moderate and higher than Pattaya but lower than Phuket. Even in a catastrophic scenario, wave heights are unlikely to exceed 1.5 meters. Dangerous, but far from the towering waves of 2004. Tsunami risk in the Andaman Sea also has a time dimension. Seismic activity in the Indian Ocean shows cycles. After the March 2025 earthquake, the chance of a major undersea quake in the Andaman Sea within the next 5 years is estimated at nearly 10%, about 3 times the baseline risk. One of the most alarming aspects of this quake is the unusually low number of aftershocks. You'd think it's a good sign that the ground isn't shaking more, but seismologists find this concerning. After a quake of this magnitude, there should be many aftershocks, yet only about 20 have been recorded. The strongest, a 6.7 magnitude tremor, struck 20 kilometers south of the main epicenter just 12 minutes later. 2 others exceeded magnitude 5. For such a large quake, this is too few, scientists say. The physics make it even more troubling. Only 6% of the earthquake's energy was released as seismic waves. The rest turned into heat or was redistributed along the fault, meaning the zone is still under stress. The U.S. Geological Survey says this event may even be a foreshock, a warning of something bigger. While the probability is low, it can't be ruled out. They estimate an 8% chance of a magnitude 7+ quake in the next year and a 48% chance of 6+ aftershocks. The Sagaing Fault is a strike-slip fault where tectonic plates slide horizontally, similar to the San Andreas Fault. Geophysical data shows that during the quake, the Earth shifted 1.8 to 2.3 meters along the fault, a massive rupture that literally tore through the landscape. Myanmar sits atop a geological powder keg. Powerful quakes are nothing new here, but this was the most destructive in decades. The last quake of similar magnitude occurred in 1912. One mystery is how Bangkok, 1,000 kilometers from the epicenter, was so strongly affected. Geologists call this seismic resonance. Just as certain sound frequencies can shatter glass, seismic waves of specific frequencies can amplify ground motion in distant areas. Bangkok sits on soft sedimentary soils, former seabed, similar to jelly, which amplifies shaking 5 to 7 times. As a result, the city experienced tremors equivalent to a magnitude 6 quake, enough to damage buildings, especially those with hidden flaws. Interestingly, the Bangkok skyscraper collapsed not from horizontal shaking, but from vertical waves. The vertical motion lifted the building and then dropped it, overwhelming its structural integrity. The Myanmar-Thailand quake reignited debates on earthquake-resistant construction. Modern engineering can build structures that withstand strong quakes. In Japan, skyscrapers sit on shock absorbers and contain counterweights that neutralize movement like a pendulum. 1233. Sadly, in Myanmar, most buildings lack such technology. Traditional brick and concrete structures with no reinforcement were defenseless against nature's fury, leading to so many casualties. Over the past 5 years, powerful quakes have rocked the Pacific Ring of Fire and Alpine Himalayan seismic belt. From 2020 to 25, 37 earthquakes of magnitude 7+ were recorded here, 22% more than the previous 5 years. Experts believe this surge reflects global geodynamic changes. The Myanmar quake came just 3 months after Japan's devastating tremor in January 2024, and 2 years after Turkey and Syria's 2023 catastrophe. Seismological data shows dangerous stress levels along the southern Sagaing Fault, extending to the Andaman Sea. More troubling is the Three Pagodas Fault in western Thailand, silent for over 300 years. After the recent quake, stress on that fault increased by 14.2%, nearing a critical threshold. Long-term forecasts are grim. Southeast Asia is entering a 15-20-year phase of heightened tectonic activity. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel and watch other informative videos.